Solving two-step equations. When solving equations, we isolate the variable on one side of the equal sign. First, we simplify on the left-hand side by combining any like terms or distributing. We simplify on the right-hand side by combining any like terms or distributing. Then we are ready to start solving. Let's look at this problem. 3x minus 5 equals 7. This problem is already simplified. Notice there are no like terms on the left-hand side. There are no like terms on the right-hand side. So we're ready to start solving. We want to isolate the x. So we should look on the side with the x. We want to get it all by itself. So we're going to need to get rid of the 3, and also we're going to need to get rid of this 5. We have to decide which one to get rid of first. Think of the x as a package. You would like to unwrap the package. On a package, the thing closest to it, like our 3, might be the wrapping paper. Also on a package, you might have a ribbon, which would be a little bit farther away. So the 5 would be like a ribbon. So if we want to open the package, we want to get to the x. First, we should take off the ribbon. So take off something that's on the package, but farthest away. And then last, we'll take off the 3, which would be like the wrapping paper. Another way to think of these equations is you're going to go on this side with the variable. Anything added or subtracted is going to come off first. You want to save the division until last. So let's solve this equation. We're going to start on the side with the x, and we're going to take off the 5. It's subtracted, so to make it cancel, we're going to add. Remember, you do the reverse operation. I usually bring down what I have and then do the new step. Equals comes straight down, and you also have to add the 5 over there for it to be okay. Clean up. Now go back on this side with the variable, and you're ready to get rid of the 3. It's multiplied, so to get it off, you will divide. Remember, when you divide by the sign of the coefficient. The division itself is the reverse. 3's are going to cancel, leave us just x equals a positive 4. Let's look at this equation. Negative 2y plus 5 equals negative 7. It is already simplified. There are no like terms on the left or no like terms on the right. So we're ready to start solving. So we should go on the side with the variable. So we need to go on the side with the y. And first we take off anything added or subtracted to the y term. So we need to take off the 5. The 5 is added, so we should subtract it from both sides. Your equals should come straight down. And we're subtracting the 5 there. Clean up. It says negative 2y equals, what's your signs on the right-hand side? These are like signs. Like signs add and keep the sign. Now go back on the side with the variable, and you're ready to divide. You have to divide by the sign of the coefficient. So we need to divide by a negative 2 on both sides. Clean up. We're left with a positive 1y, or y equals. What's your signs on this side? You have 2 negatives with division, gives you a positive, and 2 into 12 gives us 6. So we have y equals 6. Let's look at how to check one of these equations. You're going to take the solution and plug it back into the original equation to see if you get a true or false statement. So we're going to plug the 6 into our original equation instead of the y. Now, we're checking to see if this is a true or false statement. We don't know. So we clean up on the left, so we get a negative 12 plus 5. And those are different signs. They're going to subtract sign of the larger. So that's negative 7. And this side was already cleaned up. We did get a true statement, so that means we have the correct answer. 6 is the solution. If we get a false statement here, we have the wrong answer. We should rework the problem. Some of you will start to get very good with these equations, and you'll be ready to start leaving out some steps. I want to show you the minimum number of steps that you should always write. I'm not pushing anybody to this point, but I want you to write the correct notation when you are ready to leave out steps. So if I was going to solve this equation myself and I wasn't trying to teach anyone, I would basically do one thought process per line. So I would go on the side with the x and I would say, okay, my 2 needs to come off. If it's added, I'm going to subtract it. If I subtract on the left, it's going to cancel out to leave me 5x. Notice my equals would come straight down. If I subtracted a 2 on the left, I have to do the same on the right. So 17 minus 2 would be 15. Now go back on the left and you're ready to divide by 5. If I divide by 5 here, it will cancel to leave me just x. And I also have to divide by 5 on the other side. 5 into 15 will go 3 times. So you should have at least this many steps. Here's an example that requires some simplifying first. So we will simplify on the left. We need to distribute the 2 to get our parentheses off. So 2 times x will give us 2x. 2 times 5 will give us 10. Parentheses comes off, equals comes straight down. Now we'll simplify on the right. So negative 1 and a negative 7, like signs, add and keep the sign. And now we have a 2-step equation to solve. So we're going to go on this side with the x, and first we'll take off the 10. It's added. So we're going to subtract it from both sides. Clean up. Two x equals, you have like signs on the right hand side, add and keep the sign. And then back on the left, we're going to divide out the 2. So we get x equals a negative 9. I want to look at a problem that seems simple but sometimes gives students difficulty, and I think because it looks backwards. We would want to solve for the y, so we go on that side, and that means we need to take off the 7. The sign of the 7 is in front of it, so this is a positive 7. And to take it off, we're going to need to subtract it from both sides. Clean up. Don't lose the sign of the y. Notice it needs to come straight down. Now we have negative y equals 2. Remember, you're not allowed to leave an answer like that. You need to divide out the coefficient of the y. So we need to divide on both sides by a negative 1. And that gives us y equals negative 2. Let's go a step higher and solve a 2-step formula. In a formula, they have to tell you which variable you're going to solve for. And so they ask us to solve for t. That means we want to isolate the t. We will start on that side. So we find the t. Notice the g is right beside the t, so it's multiplied. So we'll leave that till last. the k is added to the t term, so we will take it off first. If it's added, to take it off, we will subtract. So we want to subtract a k from both sides. You should write it after the original piece. I've seen students that write it in front and they sometimes make a sign error. Right, so if I subtracted a k on the left, I have to also subtract it on the right. Clean up. There's nothing you can do on the left. The v minus k, they're not like terms. And on the right are k canceled. Right, go back on the side of the variable that you want. We want the t, so we're working on this side. To get it by itself, we need to get rid of the g. The g is multiplied, so to take it off, we should divide. Do the same thing on the other side. Clean up. That isolates our t. And there's nothing we can do on the left. These are not like terms. But when we have isolated the t, we have reached our goal.